Hello, thank you for being here. This is the second episode of my ongoing series where I sit down with you all and talk about some of the photos I took in Bangladesh. Today, we'll be taking a look at some of the photos I took using Kodak Portra 400 on my Contax T2. So without any further delay, let's take a look at the photos I took. I really enjoyed my time in this place called New Market in Dhaka. I personally felt like it was the perfect place to do street photography because there were so many different types of people doing so many different types of things. This man is a welder, and in Bangla you call them kamar. This man that you see in the picture that is facing the camera was not a big fan of being photographed, but the man who's holding the hammer was really excited and he talked his friend into being photographed. I really enjoyed the way the man is posing with his hammer like he's just about to go in and strike, which is looking amazing. This is a man in his shop. He was counting some money. He wasn't paying too much attention and I didn't really want to interact with him as well. Here we can see a sign. In Bangla it said Gari parking nishad, which means no parking allowed here. And a man decided to park right in front of that sign, which I found very funny. I was standing there for a couple of minutes hoping that the man who parked this car would come and I could take a picture of that man with his motorcycle, but I think he was gone for a while, so I decided to move on. After spending some time at the new market, I decided to go out and I took this picture right in front of the metro. We can see all the cars, baby taxi, the motorcycle and the bus are aligned and waiting for the light to turn green so they can go, which was a very interesting scene to see in Dhaka because nobody respects the traffic law. This is an interesting picture. This guy that we see that is standing in front of this chanachur vendor is a police officer. The fact that the vendor wasn't there didn't stop him from making himself some chanachur and eat it. This is another vendor. I really like the way he set up his shop. There was a lot of chili peppers surrounding the bag of dried rice, which looked very beautiful, so I took this picture. After that, I decided to go to this event, so I didn't take much pictures. But the next day in the morning when I got out, I saw this man sleeping in the sidewalk and there was a bus parked right in front of it. The comparison of the size of the bus and the man looked very beautiful, so I took this picture. Later that day, I decided to visit my old school in Bangladesh and I met up with an old friend and he was just showing me around the school, showing me what has changed, what is still the same. This is the school building that I attended when I was a student. Back when I was a student, the field was green and the building was white and the trees were green too, but now everything has changed. These are the students, they just got out for tiffin break and they're gonna go and play. I was taking some photos of them and a teacher just approached me and said, hey, why are you taking photos? No photos here. But my friend luckily was there and everybody kind of knows him in the school, said, hey, this was a student long time ago and he just came back to visit the school and he's taking some photos. And at that point, the teacher was like, okay, you could take some photos. This is the friend of mine. I went to school with him when I was a kid. I knew him since first grade, and after third grade, I had to leave, and after fifth grade, I had to migrate to United States completely. So I saw him after about 21 years, which was a very long time. I was really grateful to find a friend of mine from that childhood time. This is the classroom that we attended back when we were in first grade. Currently, that classroom is abandoned and no class takes place in there. And to sit there for a couple of minutes, it was very nostalgic for me. কোন ক্লাসে তোমরা? তোমার নাম কি? আর তোমার নাম? আরাফ। আর ওর নাম কি? আর ওর নাম কি? I try my best in my life not to go back to the past. I left high school and I never went back to visit high school. I left college, never went back to visit college. I left a couple of jobs and I never went back. Past is not a place to live. Past is a place to learn from. Future have so many obstacles and so many challenges. Who has time to live in the past or visit the past? But this school is very special and dear to my heart. Whenever I'm in Bangladesh and I don't have much to do, I oftentimes find myself going to this campus, visiting these people that I used to call friend and play some cricket with them. And that always makes me feel like I'm at home. Life is strange that way. So after spending some time with my friend, I decided to go off and go to my next destination. And on the street, I saw these three men standing on top of a truck, which I found very beautiful. I believe 3 is the number of God. God works in 3. In 3, there's you, I, and God. When you get married in Islam, you have to say Qabul 3 times, and when you get divorced, you have to say Talaq 3 times. In this planet, there's only 3 colors, and everything else is just a mixture of it. So whenever I see a repetition of 3, I can't help myself but take a picture of it. I'm really liking this picture. I was very glad that I stood up on a motorcycle and pointed out my camera like this and took this photo, because it gives you a very beautiful understanding of depth and how much people are in front of this traffic. I'm really enjoying this double-decker bus that is a little bit in distance. The fact that it's a little bit in distance gives you an idea of how big this bus is. I took this picture around 7 o'clock in the morning. It was already dark as it is, the sun wasn't fully up, and I saw this man, he was spraying some gas to get rid of the mosquitoes. There wasn't enough light to take this picture, so the camera decided to lower the shutter speed, therefore you can see some motion blur in this picture. However, as soon as I clicked the shutter, there was a rickshaw puller who just broke the fog and started approaching the camera, which made this picture look very beautiful. বাড়ি কই?
বাড়ি বিক্রমপুর।
আপনি ঢাকায় আছেন কতদিন?
ঢাকায় ঢাকায় আছি বলে
আগে কই ছিলেন?
আগে বাসা বাড়িতে কাজ করতাম, অ্যাক্সিডেন্টে আমার
আপনার ছেলে মেয়ে আছে?
আমি নিঃসন্তান।
আপনার জামাই আছে?
আমার জামাই মারা গেছে।
After I went a little bit down the block, I saw this homeless lady. She was telling me that she doesn't have any husband, and unluckily, she never had any kids. So, after her husband died, she had nothing to do or nowhere to go. So, she decided to come to Dhaka to find some work. After some time, she was too old to work and she decided to just live in the street. I really love the fact that I took this picture from a worm's eye view and the sky in the background is looking as clear as it can. It is very hard to find a clear sky in Dhaka, but that day I got very, very lucky. Here you can see another homeless lady. She's cleaning her daughter's hair. In Bangladesh, people often get lice in their hair. So instead of using a lice shampoo, what they do is they go in and manually find these lice and they kill it in between two nails. And as soon as they pop it, there's a sound that goes like pit. I didn't want to get too close to them because I didn't want to get lice on my head, but I regret that very much. I realize now if I took this picture from front of their face, the picture would have been very beautiful. But I'm not too mad about missing this shot. Life is full of peaks and valleys. Some people like to refer to it as good time, bad time, loss and win, but I like to refer to it as learning, mastership. Learning, mastership. I think it is God's intention that we fail and we learn instead of taking it as a loss. And the more we learn, the more we master. And the difference between mastering and succeeding at something is when you master something, there's always more to master and more to learn. So I like to tell people that never be afraid of not knowing and never be afraid of sucking at something, because sucking at something is the price we pay to get better at things. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, goodbye.